My name is Allison, and I'm a former home-based baker turned retail bakery shop owner. And it wasn't that long ago when I was running my bakeries that I was finding myself getting overstressed and overworked while trying to work in my business and at the same time work on my business. So I found ways to save time, save money, and have more freedom. And I'm here to share those tips with you so that you can grow your side hustle into the baking business of your dreams.
Hey everyone, welcome to Hot Topics Live. It is Monday, 2 p.m. Central Time, and you guys know what that means. We take 15 minutes out of our day to learn a business tip to help you run your home baking business just a little bit better this week. And today's topic is going to be particularly interesting to those of you who are just getting started, still navigating the cottage food laws, or those of you who kind of started selling just to see how it was, and now you need to circle back and take care of some of those cottage food details like labeling your baked goods. So I hope that that applies to you, or you just want to pick up some new tips on labeling your home baked goods, because that's what we're going to be talking about today. So I'm going to be sharing with you 3 simple steps that you can take to master labeling your baked goods. And this topic always brings on so many questions just because everybody's state is slightly different in what they require, and it can be a little, confusing. So this training today is actually straight out of my home bakery regulations course, which is a digital course where I kind of walk you through researching your cottage food requirements. And this is a big part of it. So you guys are getting like a full module of that course here today, the condensed version in Hot Topics Live. So I always promise to try to keep these at 15 minutes. Today's no different. So a quick shout out to everybody who's watching live, listening live. Did you know that this is our 40th Hot Topics Live? We've been doing this for a while now, and I have some kind of exciting news, although it's not really news yet. But I would love to turn this training into a podcast. So today I'd love to hear your comments about whether that would be helpful for you. I know so many people say that it's hard to find this training, and a podcast is so much more shareable and easy to access later, watch or listen on your own time. So I welcome your feedback if you're interested in having these hot topics turn into podcasts. It's been on my to-do list forever, and now that we hit the 40 mark on Hot Topics Live, I feel like it's time to level up. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. All right, so let's talk about 3 steps to getting your labeling game on for home baked goods. So the first step is to understand what your state requires of you for your labeling. And the way that you're going to do that is by looking at the governing body for your state who makes the cottage food requirements. So it's different in each state. Some states, it's the Department of Agriculture, the ones who do your health department inspections. Some states, there's, a special agency. So you need to know who that governing body is in your state. There's usually a PDF that you download, and you're going to go and find the actual labeling requirements that they ask for to be printed on your label. So I'm going to go over, I think there's 8 of them, different things that they may ask for. First of all, the name of the product. Your product needs to have a title, whether the title is chocolate chip cookies or something fancier than that. You want to verify whether you need to have the name of the title. And honestly, I would put that on there even if it wasn't required. Next is the name and address of your cottage food operation. And this is changing slightly state by state. I know cottage food bakers aren't crazy about putting the address on their label, but you do at least want to know if that is a requirement in your state or if it's an option. So that is number 2. Number 3 is, are you required to have additional contact information on that label, like an email address or a phone number for your baking business? So those are just some of the basics. Next, you want to find out if they require statements about this product being made in a facility that is a cottage food operation. They usually have different terminology for it. So if your state requires that, they might even give you like a copy and paste phrase that needs to go on every label. So you want to find out if you have anything that you need to disclose about where this product was made. Next up, you want to be clear on what your requirements are for the net weight and the volume of the product. So do you have to say like 1 chocolate chip cookie? Do you have to say 1 4-ounce chocolate chip cookie? I'll give you a little tip, and that is that I know a lot of bakers leave that weight empty when they print the label. And then when the product is done, when you put it in its packaging and you put the sticker on it, then you weigh each individual one, and you can just write in with pen or Sharpie 4.2 ounces just for accuracy. So that's a nice little workaround if you sell those items in like a mini and a jumbo. Same label works for both of them. All right, next up is you want to find out if your state has any allergen warnings that you need to use. So these would be like specific allergen warnings about what you have in your kitchen or the ingredients that are in that product. And then finally, the big one is to find out what you're required to list in terms of the ingredients, and most likely in descending order of predominance. So do you have to list the sub-ingredients? So if I were selling chocolate chip cookies and I used semi-sweet chocolate chips in my recipe, does my state require me to list the ingredients of the semi-sweet chocolate chips in addition to the recipe, the ingredients in the recipe? And this is a big one, because if you use things like sprinkles or food coloring or flavoring, sometimes those ingredients can be really long. And if your state requires you to list the sub-ingredients, you can end up with a label that has a lot of information on it and may require a larger label. So the reason that this step comes first is finding out what needs to be on your label, is because the next step, which is to lay out your label, is going to be affected by how much information you have to have on your label. So once you know what needs to go on your label, you can then decide what size label you should use. So I generally keep 2 sizes of labels in my printing inventory. One is, I don't know if you can see this one, but it's an Avery 18163. I'll put the product in the description after I finish today's Hot Topics Live. But this is essentially a 2x4 shipping label. And that one's great for lengthy ingredient lists. The other one that I really like is this Avery. It's just a 2x2 square. And this one is 22816. So you can get those on Amazon. You can pick them up when you're at Walmart if you're running low and you're kind of in a pinch. But I feel like those 2 labels cover the majority of the different sizes that I need. Now, along those lines, you can do everything on one, so your logo and your required information on one label, or you can split it up into 2 labels. So you might have a smaller label sticker for just the logo, and then you have another one that is for the ingredients. But I always recommend keeping it as simple as possible. So if you can fit your logo and your ingredients on one label in the beginning, then by all means go that route. So keep it simple and then expand as you learn more and more about what works for you. So that was step 2, which is kind of decide the format, decide the size so that you could pick the template that you want to print it on. And the second half of that step is to then go on and use an app like Canva or Avery to design the layout of your logo. So you're actually going to type in all the ingredients and drop in the image of your logo. So I mentioned Canva. I also love Avery. That's where I design all my labels. And I like this because you can easily store your labels in your projects there if you create a Canva, or excuse me, an Avery account. And then every time you need to reprint, you can just download that PDF and print right from the app. It's just really easy, and you can easily change the template sizes. So if I want to take my chocolate chip cookie label and print it on a different size, it's really easy to switch between those. In fact, I have a video, a YouTube video, where I kind of walk you through the steps of that. So I'll drop that in, I think it's in the description of the video. So scroll up where you're watching from. You'll see the link to that Avery video if you want a little help laying out the format of your label. All right, so third step for labeling your home baked goods is to decide how you're going to be printing them. So when you're going to print your labels, you can either do it at home on a number of different types of printers, or you can pay to have them printed by uploading your design to a place like Vistaprint. So we'll start with the at-home option. You can go with a very simple, $50 or $60 Walmart printer in the beginning just to start printing your labels, and then level up from there. Or you can go with something that's very specific for label printing. And for that, I usually recommend the Brother thermal printer. I'll tell you why I like that one. It doesn't require any ink, so it takes a roll of labels and it prints it with heat. So if you picture the type of label that you get when you go to the deli and you order some sliced meats or cheese, they put your stuff on the scale, it prints out a sticker and you put that on. That is what the Brother thermal printer does, and it's convenient for people who print a higher volume of labels. So if you're really starting to get some traction on a particular baked good that you're selling, that might be a good option for you if you're selling like a high volume of them. But I also love the thermal printers because that ink doesn't bleed. Like if it gets a little bit of condensation on the label or splash of water, smudging, you know how that goes. It's a cleaner, higher quality label. So you can print them at home using, a Walmart cheap HP printer, an inkjet printer, or you can buy the thermal printers, or you can pay somebody to print them for you, like Vistaprint. Even Canva will print right from the app. Avery will print right from the app. So wherever you're designing your logos and your labels, you can print right from there as well. Now, there are 3 different quick start tips to help you take action on getting your label game up and running. So I want to make sure that you have a clear takeaway from today's training. It's all about an easy, actionable tip. So today's action tip is to decide how you're going to format your labels. Are you going to be using Canva? Are you going to use Avery? Are you going to use something else? For accountability, you can drop your decision in the comments just to say, I'm going to get started on Avery, or I am going to do mine in Canva. The name of the game is to take action this week. So if you're watching this video because you need to do something about your labeling, the first step is to decide what app you're going to be using to format your labels. Drop your plans in the comments below, and it'll be fun to kind of follow you throughout the week just to see how that goes for you. So a couple of you are dropping some comments there. Maybe Avery, some of you are saying that's great. Avery is what I use. So if you watch that training video, the YouTube video that I linked in the description, you'll see why I love Avery so much. I've got a whole file of past labels. It's just super easy to use. So that is just an easy way to get started. And that is my point, is to just keep it simple. Don't overcomplicate it by thinking about maybe what you might want in 3 years from now. Just solve the problem this week by taking action and following the steps here in today's training. All right, so earlier at the beginning of today's Hot Topics, I asked if you thought you might like this as a podcast, and this Facebook user says a podcast would be awesome. Always listening to podcasts in the car, while cooking, etc. So yes, please. Amazing. Thank you for that feedback. I'm the same way. I love multitasking and learning new things while I'm walking the dog, doing dishes and things like that. So how fun would that be to just take your Hot Topics Live training for the week and listen to them, while you're multitasking. Plus, this is our 42nd Hot Topics Live right now, and it'd be really fun just to binge listen to all of those past ones, which you can here in the Facebook group. You can go to the guides section and find all of our past recordings, but podcasts are just easy and accessible and shareable. So yay, lots of good comment on the podcast idea. I love it. I will keep you guys posted as to how that comes together. So the name of the game is to keep this under 15 minutes and keep it short and actionable. So that's what we're going to do here today. I'm going to wrap it up and encourage you to take action. If you're still wondering about your labeling, then today's training should have helped you with that. You still have questions, drop them in the comments, and I will see you next Monday, 2 p.m. Central, for another edition of Hot Topics Live. Thanks for watching, everyone. We'll see you next week.